Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today for dinner, I'm so excited. We are going to be making beef back ribs with the lower calorie, low sugar barbecue sauce. Now, I've actually not made beef back ribs before. I do make baby back ribs a lot, and I do those in my slow cooker. But I have about 4.5 pounds here, and this is just a rack that I got from Costco. Now, I've been wanting to make these for a while because I did see a really simple oven roasted recipe. It was also recently my dad's birthday, and I remember that he used to make us beef back ribs a lot, but on the barbecue grill. And I'm just not comfortable with the grill enough to be barbecuing a whole rack of ribs. So today I'm using an oven roasted recipe. And so right now I'm just cutting a slit in that back layer of lining, and I'm just going to use a paper towel and flip this over so it's a little easier, and just use this to pull the back off. Hopefully, nope, it's gonna shred on me a little bit. That's fine. Sometimes it has a nice tight grip, but the same thing you would do, see, just like that with any rack of ribs. I do this with the baby back ribs also. The ones that I make in my slow cooker is actually a recipe from my mother-in-law, and it's really good, so we just use it all the time. But for beef back ribs, I don't buy super often. And I'm hoping that this oven roasted recipe still turns out really good. And they're kind of slow roasted in there, so you really just kind of set it and forget it almost. Very simple and few steps in this one. So I'm just gonna pat it dry just a bit with my paper towel now that I got that layer off in the back. Now, and by no means are beef back ribs, you know, a very lean cut of meat. You can see in here the fat included. So I want to balance out this meal with the low calorie barbecue sauce. And on the side, I'm going to make some garlic fried rice, but I'm gonna make it a protein rice to help us balance out the meal a bit more, which I've been really working to do if you've watched some of the other Sunday dinner videos on my channel. Next, I'm just gonna take some regular yellow mustard and do a big squirt over everything. I'm really not going to be measuring much, just like that. And I'll rub this on the front and sides and back. Now, if we have time, I'm also hoping to squeeze in a dessert today. And this one, again, is going to be a more protein forward version of a dessert. I saw this recipe for protein s'mores, so I'm gonna give it a try. It won't be exactly like, you know, traditional marshmallow s'mores, but I've had something really similar to it in the past, so I think it's gonna be a nice little treat. Okay, so we have our mustard done. Now we're gonna move on to seasonings. Let me wash my hands again. All right, first, salt. And again, not measuring. I'm really just gonna start eyeballing everything. Pepper, but pretty liberal with the pepper since we really like it. Oregano. And I have here some paprika. Sprinkle that all over. Again, something we really like. And some garlic. And this is chili powder. So basically you're kind of making your own barbecue rub, I guess. All right, and onion powder. I'm also gonna add a bit of brown sugar on here, which is something that I also do with my baby back ribs. But today I'm going to be using, to keep this a little lower calorie, some of my 0-calorie brown sugar. This is the Splenda version. There are other ones too. I just got this one at Walmart that I've been using. I did show in my shorts around the holidays. I think maybe it was around Thanksgiving or so. I actually used this brown sugar to make my brown sugar honey glazed ham this year. And I tested out the recipe. I was hoping that it would work just the same as brown sugar when I heated it up on the stove to use as a glaze, and it really did. It tasted really good, and it just tasted like a sweet but lightened up version of brown sugar honey. So I've been using this 0-calorie brown sugar a lot now because we just really like it. I still use regular brown sugar for other things like cookies and such, but when I'm trying to keep a meal or a certain dish lower calorie or lower sugar for myself and my family, that's the alternative I use. So now that's it for all of my seasonings. I'm just gonna go ahead and rub everything in a bit on my rack here. Now I already have my oven preheated to 250 degrees. So we are going to add this in. We're going to cover this with some foil and add it into our oven for about 3.5 hours. Wash hands. Before I forget and add my foil, I am going to add, this is actually in the original recipe too, which I'll link down below, but I'm gonna add a little bit of this liquid smoke. This is the Wright's liquid smoke. I probably also got this at Walmart a while back, but this is going to help give us sort of that barbecue vibe on our ribs without having to put them on the grill. And it's gonna help give us that smoky flavor. And I'm not gonna add a ton, just a few drops is probably all you need. I can already smell that it smells smoky. So I'm going to add oil and get my ribs nice and covered. So after the 3.5 hour mark, we'll go ahead and check it and add our barbecue sauce to do a little broil action at that point. All right, so now that our ribs are working in the oven, I wanna go ahead and get started on our dessert. So today I'm gonna be making frozen s'mores that are a little more protein forward. I saw this recipe originally and I thought it was genius. And so I'm just gonna start off with 1 tub of Cool Whip or light whip topping. Usually I get the 0 sugar kind, but they didn't have it available at my store because that one is the lowest calories. But this one is only 20 calories per serving and it's the light whipped topping. So I just had this sitting out on my counter while we've been in here to defrost and thaw for a bit because I want to mix in some protein powder. If that doesn't affect the taste that much, then this is legit genius. So if you've seen me use protein powder in some of my other meals on my channel, you know that I use Isopure. So this is a protein powder. This one's just vanilla flavored. You can use any protein powder though. So for this recipe, you're gonna take about 4 tablespoons, which is half a scoop, so roughly 15 grams or so. And just pour that into a container and just start mixing it up. And for the recipe, it said that 1 container can make about 8 of these s'mores. So we'll do half today just to see how it goes. Sort of resembles like marshmallow fluff, I think. But this protein powder is really good about being mixed in. I actually use it every single day for my coffee in the morning as sort of my creamer. You know, they have those powdered creamers that you put into your coffee sometimes. I use my protein powder to serve the same purpose. But make it into a protein coffee every morning. All right, so that's nice and mixed. Let me give it a taste. That's still good. Awesome. Now, I just have some regular honey graham crackers, and I set them in my dish just like this. This is gonna be the bottom of our s'mores. And I'll take about half of my whipped topping container and just pour that on. Okay, and I'll just kind of smooth it out so that we get all of our edges. So I'm just gonna take my top layer and stack them right on top. And then we're gonna put this in the freezer to harden up and do our chocolate layer later. All right, so now is the time where I wanna get started on my barbecue sauce. Now for this one, because I am keeping it low calorie, low sugar, I'm gonna start off with a store-bought barbecue sauce as my base. If you love Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce, you would probably really like the Ray's version that's no sugar added. This one, in comparison to the regular Sweet Baby Ray's, is much lower calorie, lower sugar. So this is only 15 calories per serving, 1 gram of sugar. And we've bought it before, we've had it before and love it. So I'm going to use this as my base today. I just have my little saucepan. I'm gonna add maybe half the bottle in here. This is the sweet and smoky version, but you can use any one, I'm sure, because we're just using it as a base. And I'm going to add in some flavors that are going to be more Asian inspired. Because I am making the fried garlic rice today, I want to carry over some of those flavors into our barbecue sauce and our ribs. So I have here some soy sauce. This is low sodium. I have some fish sauce and rice vinegar. These two in particular I will be using in the fried garlic rice. And I have a little bit of sriracha to add just a bit more heat to this. I don't want these super spicy, but we love the flavor of sriracha. So I'm just gonna add in maybe about half a tablespoon to a tablespoon in here. Next, I'm gonna add in roughly about, let's do a teaspoon of soy sauce. Same with our fish sauce. I'm gonna go with about a teaspoon, maybe 1.5 to start. I wanna go, so I haven't actually done this combo of flavors before in my barbecue sauce, so it's a bit of an experiment. So I'm gonna try go less and then add more if we need it. And then about a teaspoon of my rice vinegar. And before I forget, I do have some chopped garlic. This is about a tablespoon and a half. I'm gonna add that in here as well. And we're gonna get this started on our stove, just simmering on low to heat up before we use it to baste the ribs once those are out. Okay, now is the time I wanna go ahead and get started on my protein garlic fried rice. Now, I already have some white rice made. So I make my white rice protein rice by cooking it. This is just regular long grain white rice. And instead of cooking it with water, I cook it with broth. Now, you can cook it with chicken broth because that's gonna add flavor. But to add flavor and protein, I use chicken bone broth. So this is very low calorie, 45 calories per serving, 9 grams of protein in that. So very protein rich when I do it this way. This is leftover rice, so this has been in the fridge. It's very hard, and I do that purposely because once it's hardened up and in the fridge or freezer, actually I think this is in the freezer, it's going to absorb whatever flavor variation you want to put on this rice. It's going to absorb those flavors amazingly. So we're starting off with our base protein white rice, and we're gonna head over to the stove and get all of our flavors together. Okay, so I have my pan heating up here on medium low with a little bit of avocado oil. We are gonna add our very cold white rice in here. And I don't use measurements, but this is gonna be about 2 cups, maybe 2.5. And we'll get this working, absorbing up some of that avocado oil and frying up. All right, now that we have our rice broken up a bit, my spiced up garlic cloves, I have about 10 total in here. And I slice them so that you can still see nice big garlic pieces in this rice. I want it to be very garlic forward. And we'll get those sauteing for a bit. We already have some chicken flavor from cooking the rice in the bone broth, but I'm gonna add just a little bit more. I'm gonna add 1 packet of this chicken bouillon. This right here is sodium free, so we are going to be adding salt a little bit later. I'll add maybe half the packet in here and give that a stir. You should be able to smell that garlic now. Or you would if you're cooking this, but I smell it. It smells very good. So now we're going to add in our liquid seasonings. So first we'll start off with a little bit of soy, about a teaspoon. Same with our rice vinegar. And our fish sauce. And we'll turn this up to medium so that we can get a nice fry going. Next, I'll add some salt, not too much because we want to taste it, and some pepper. You could add white pepper if you didn't want to see the black pepper flakes in there, but we don't mind. Now I'll give it a little taste for seasoning. I think we'll do just a little more fish sauce. Fish sauce gives it more of that umami type flavor, and a little dash more soy, and we are there. I'm going to do a nice big handful of some chopped up green onion. And you could use sesame seeds, but I've been using this everything bagel seasoning because it has sesame seed in it. And I have been loving it in my fried rices. So I'm going to give a good dash of that. And that is all there is to it for this super easy garlic fried rice. That looks delicious. We can turn that heat off. All right, so it's been about 3.5 hours and I just took out my ribs. Let's give them a look. All right, these look great. Nice and juicy. To get our sort of barbecue vibes, we are gonna take that doctored up barbecue sauce that we made and slather that on. I have my stove set to broil, and we are going to add this barbecue sauce and then put it back in the oven to get some char for about 3 to 8 minutes, I think. Back in these go. 3 to 8 minutes broil. Okay, now to finish off our frozen s'mores, I'm gonna work on the chocolate coating. So I'm just using some 0 sugar Hershey's chocolate chips. And I'm gonna add these to my cup and microwave these for about 30-second intervals until we're melted. Now that my s'mores are frozen up, I'm going to cut these into 4. Just like that. There's my chocolate chips. Okay, so that took about 1.5 minutes worth of 30-second intervals. It's nice and melted. Now I'm just gonna take these out of our dish here. Let me just show you how they turned out. Isn't that super cute? Now we'll just take these and start coating with our chocolate. Super simple. Just like that. All right, that's what we're looking like. And I'm just gonna do one side on each of these. So now we have a nice good chocolate layer. And next, to add a little pizzazz, just some simple sprinkles. All right, now we are going to put these back in the freezer just so that chocolate hardens up a bit, and then they're done. All right, everyone, that is it for this Sunday's dinner with our oven roasted beef ribs. Everything turned out so good. After I took the ribs out of the oven, I did one more coat of that delicious Asian inspired barbecue sauce, low sugar barbecue sauce that we made. And I'm so impressed with the ribs, how they turned out. I've never done beef back ribs before, so doing this oven roasted recipe, they turned out really good, really juicy. I would definitely 100% make it again. And what's great about the barbecue sauce is you just put any kind of variation you want on it to go with whatever flavors you want to use that night with your meal. The garlic fried protein rice, I really just freehanded. I do that with my fried rices all the time, and I put whatever flavors I want on it. I don't do a lot of measuring. That I just go by taste. That's why it turns out so good every time, because I just add more of what we like. And then with these, I just served alongside of it a really simple green salad, just something nice and light and fresh to go with the rest of our meal. Definitely recommend. And for our protein frozen s'mores, even this one I was really impressed by, because I was very hesitant about that protein whipped topping, but you really can't even taste the protein powder in it, especially because the one I was using is vanilla flavored already. So a very low calorie dessert that you can do that takes no baking and is really easy and quick. If you guys like this one, make sure you give me a thumbs up, because that would really help out my channel. If you want to see more of me in the kitchen and more of my Sunday dinners, make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss any of the videos coming out soon. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.